Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. You mean after we close our loan, we've got 2 weeks to change our mind for any reason?
Any reason at all?
And the money store will cancel our second mortgage loan? Guaranteed?
That's right. Just return the money and the deal is off, at no cost to you. We believe the money store's low fixed rates and quick approval for qualified homeowners is your best bet. Call our local toll-free number. Dial 1-800-LOAN-YES.
America loves the winner, and this week's Star Search gives you 8 of them. Count them, 8 categories of competition with entertainment so hot you can feel it. The semifinals are just 1 week away, and every new star can just taste that $100,000. Watch them all. Watch them win. Watch them get one giant step closer to $100,000 on
Star Search 89, the world's greatest talent competition.
Saturday night at 11:30 on WTNH Channel 8.
Wayside of Milford celebrates 61 years of furnishing Connecticut.
Live from WTNH, this is Connecticut's Action News Midday with Mark Davis, Diane Smith, and Nancy Aborn with the weather. Plus, reports from the Action News team. Now, Action News Midday.
Good afternoon. Mark Davis is off. Jon Crane is sitting in. Up front on Action News Midday, wreckage is littering our rain-soaked highways today as a downpour gives drivers a rough ride. Interstate 95 in Milford was the trouble spot this morning with a 5-car pileup on the eastbound side. Just behind that, a garbage truck rolled over, taking down a pole and some utility lines. A telephone company truck rolled over on the other side of the highway opposite the 5-car pileup. And now police are reporting another multi-vehicle accident in just about the same area. A truck driver is in critical condition at this hour after 2 tractor-trailers collided on I-84 in Tolland. Donald Webster of Florence, Alabama, apparently rammed the rear end of a slow-moving truck ahead of him. The highway was shut down while the Lifestar helicopter landed to take him to Hartford Hospital. One of the trucks was a tanker and has been leaking a flammable liquid. The fire marshal says that situation, though, is now under control. An accident last night involving 2 East Hartford policemen sent one officer to the hospital with minor injuries. One officer was driving along Silver Lane when a second officer pulled out of a driveway. The first cop swerved to avoid the accident, ended up losing control of his car. It went off the side of the road and flipped over. The officer was treated for a head injury and released then from Manchester Hospital. John?
Hamden police are preparing an arrest warrant today for one of New Haven's highest-ranking police officers. Commander John Marr is wanted in questioning in connection with Tuesday night's hit-and-run accident at this Hamden intersection. Authorities suspect Marr's unmarked police car slammed into this car, injuring the 2 passengers. The victims say they are considering a lawsuit. New Haven Police Chief William Farrell has called for an internal affairs investigation which is expected to take 3 to 4 weeks. Commander Marr has been out sick since Tuesday. Meanwhile, Hamden police want Marr for evading responsibility and failure to grant right-of-way.
Waterbury fire officials are investigating an overnight blaze that has destroyed a 3-story home. The fire broke out in a house on Brewster Street in the city's north end. So far, we are told there were no serious injuries. The Red Cross, though, has been called in to help those who have no place to live now. And police say that revenge may have been behind an East Haven shooting last night. A car drove up to this home on Oak Hill Drive around midnight and sprayed the house with gunfire. 9 bullet holes were found in the home. Police say the woman who lives there, Mrs. William Staplin, had testified in a sexual assault case that led to a conviction and a 50-year prison term. She'd been getting threatening phone calls that police think are related to this shooting, and police are probing the possibility that the shooting and the phone calls were in retaliation for her testimony. Fortunately, nobody was hurt in that incident, but so far nobody's been charged.
Diane, a new program has been launched to stop drug-related violence in one New Haven neighborhood. It's called Compact, or Citizens and Police Against Criminal Transgression. The idea is to put the heat on drug dealers by making police more visible in the city's Kensington neighborhood.
Okay, the real key to the K-Pact operation is not only are the sweeps involved in the rest of the city government, such as the Building, Health, and Public Works Department, but there is also a residual patrol that is left later on.
Cops say they're committed to keeping the program going so people can enjoy a little freedom in their own neighborhood. Diane?
Congressman Bruce Morrison says Governor O'Neill could not win another term if the election were held today. So the Hamden Democrat says he is deciding over the next month whether he ought to run for the state's highest office. O'Neill has said that he does plan to run for re-election as long as his health remains good. The search for Texas Congressman Mickey Leland is taking on a new urgency today after a weather satellite picked up 2 radar signals from the area where the plane is believed to have gone down. One of those signals is not coming in at all right now, but rescue parties are following the other signal as they widen their search around 2 different regions near Addis Ababa. ABC's Richard Sergey has more on the search to find Leland and his party of 13.
The U.S. Air Force began preparing very early this morning for the search operation, which now has been expanded southeast and northwest of the Ethiopian capital. The giant American Hercules took off after a weather satellite picked up at least 2 emergency signals from a downed plane in terrain dominated by high mountain peaks. While there is still no indication the signals are from Congressman Leland's aircraft, local rescue teams already have been sent out on foot. Meanwhile, a U.S. transport plane arrived this morning carrying 4 Black Hawk helicopters, which will join the search later in the day. Also on board, 2 of Leland's colleagues who are here to monitor the rescue mission.
It's our job to make sure that everything possible that's being done is being done. We've come for our brother. Hopefully we will find him and be able to bring him and his party back.
Until today, the search operation is focused on an area to the west, the direction Leland's plane was apparently headed when all radio contact was lost on Monday. With the international rescue mission now in full swing, U.S. officials here say they still remain hopeful that the Texas Democrat and his companions will be found alive. Richard Sergey, ABC News, Addis Ababa.
Meanwhile, as you would imagine, it's been a difficult week for Leland's staff in Washington.
They're keeping around-the-clock vigil, waiting for any word about their boss. Early this morning, they held a news conference.
The news from NOR is very, very disappointing. They had indicated earlier that they were counting on the midnight satellite pass in order to help triangulate, pinpoint the transmissions. The satellite pass turned up absolutely nothing.
U.S. rescue planes on their way to Ethiopia are carrying enough water and boxed lunches to keep the search going throughout the weekend, Diane.
Well, Mexican rescue teams are still finding bodies as they continue to pick through the rubble of a passenger train accident. More than 88 people were killed, 120 hurt after a local train plummeted off its tracks 2 days ago. So far, no Americans have been listed among the victims. Investigators are still at the scene, though, trying to figure out what caused that train wreck. And after a night of heavy shelling, 22 people are dead, more than 100 injured in Lebanon. Leaders on both sides are calling the night one of the bloodiest battles between Christian and Syrian forces. Hardest hit Beirut and the suburbs and villages surrounding the city.
Diane, as for the hostages in Lebanon, the White House is welcoming reports this midday from Tehran that the U.S. and Iran will begin indirect talks on the crisis. But as ABC's David Ensor reports, the U.S. would prefer to deal through official diplomatic channels.
There is growing frustration at the State Department that the U.S. is hearing about possible hostage negotiations only through the Iranian media. Officials say Iran has not sent any official diplomatic messages this week. But administration officials say the door is open. The U.S. is ready to talk directly to Iran and on any issue.
The United States government is prepared to engage in a dialogue with authorized representatives of the government of Iran to discuss the issues that divide us.
As for suggestions in the Iranian press that Pakistan's Foreign Minister Yaqub Khan might be used as an intermediary, U.S. officials say that's the first they've heard of it. However, Khan did visit Washington last week, and he is scheduled to visit Tehran next week. For now, patience is what President Bush needs most, analysts say. They believe there is reason for hope. Because of his country's problems, they say Iran's President Hashemi Rafsanjani needs the opening to the West that freeing the hostages would give him.
Iran's economy is in extremely bad shape. Militarily, Iran is now inferior to almost all of its neighbors.
While Iran and the U.S. both apparently have reasons to improve their relationship now, those holding the hostages in Lebanon may not go along easily with such a move. Officials here say Wednesday's suicide bombing of Israeli soldiers in Lebanon, claimed by a group that says it's holding some of the hostages, was a potent reminder of that. David Ensor, ABC News, the State Department.
And still ahead on Action News Midday, Cy Becker is going to review Sly Stallone's new flick. Is it going to keep us awake or put us to sleep in the theater?
And are your sleepless nights a mirror of your mental health? Well, we'll have some answers and some solutions for those restless snoozers out there in our medical report when we return.
It is now post time.
Saratoga, yes, it's beautiful, historic, and has thrilling thoroughbred racing. But if you can't always get to upstate New York, let Teletrack bring Saratoga to you. All the pounding action of great thoroughbred racing, starting at 1:30 every afternoon but Tuesday. Teletrack, the only place to watch a horse race.
Tonight, Raoul is taking me dancing in this. Thank goodness for Episage Ultra, the complete body care system with unique rotating body brushes, an extra set for sensitive areas, and 3 Epicential lotions, all to remove dry skin and leave me soft and smooth. Episage Ultra even minimizes the appearance of cellulite. Don't tell Raoul.
Available at G-Fox.
Another beauty breakthrough from Epi Products.
You don't have to struggle to see the difference between 100% natural Kraft sliced cheese and all the rest. We're the only one in the zip pack resealable package. Want to keep it fresh? Make it 100% natural, only from Kraft.
Who's watching?
Bob Bacozzi, best sportsman around. I like the coverage that they give to local sports.
He really knows sports.
Who's watching? Connecticut's watching. Action News 8.
This week on Siskel and Ebert, the new faces of '89.
You're all so attractive.
So somebody gonna go to bed with somebody or what?
Honey, you are a regular nuclear meltdown. You better cool off.
We'll pick the performers whose work has gotten them noticed, finally. New faces this week on Siskel and Ebert.
Saturday at 6:30 on Channel 8.
Connecticut and 7 other northeastern states are adopting auto emission standards as strict as California's to reduce ozone pollution and acid rain. Now the cost of a car is expected to go up about $150. The alterations that are going to be necessary to meet those new standards, they take effect in 1993. Connecticut officials said they had wanted to make the changes for a while now. The stringent standards have lower limits for hydrocarbons and nitrogen oxides than our current standards, and they're stricter than the amendments to the Clean Air Act that have been proposed by the president.
A national study just out says that the AIDS epidemic is straining the nation's inner-city hospitals, especially those here in the Northeast. The study, published in today's Journal of the American Medical Association, says that less than 5% of the nation's hospitals care for more than half the country's AIDS victims.
Hospitals cannot cope with this problem. It is going to spill over into the rest of the hospital industry, and it's going to affect your ability and my ability to get adequate health care.
The study says hospitals lose an average $136 a day for each AIDS patient. Diane?
In news concerning your health, pregnant women who use cocaine are 5 times more likely to have a baby with deformed kidneys, according to a new study. The Journal of the American Medical Association says that link was found by identifying babies with kidney defects, then interviewing their mothers about cocaine use. Doctors say the study needs further research, but the results are consistent with other reports. They also say the number of cocaine-using mothers and deformed babies is rising, partly because many women who use cocaine may not even be aware that they are pregnant.
Now let's shift gears just a little bit. Did you know snoring can do more to keep your mate awake? It can also be a sign of a serious problem called sleep apnea. Now some dentists have come up with a new device to treat the condition, as Channel 8's Kathy Marshall explains.
Special dental devices are making life easier for people who don't breathe normally while they sleep. An estimated 50,000 new cases of what's called obstructed sleep apnea are diagnosed every year in the U.S. For Craig Himes, it meant loud snoring at night and problems during the day.
I was having sleepiness and loss of memory and just slowing down to a super couch potato.
Normally, when a person is asleep, the airway stays open. In obstructive sleep apnea, the base of the tongue slides back to close off airflow. The condition is diagnosed by overnight testing in a sleep lab. When the airflow stops, the heart races, blood pressure rises, and the person may wake up gasping. But that hasn't happened to Craig Himes for at least a year. He wears a special retainer that holds the lower jaw forward.
It opens the airway, and so when they're laying on their back at night and their muscles relax and the tongue drops back, it doesn't completely shut down the airway, and they can still breathe.
I find it's pretty easy. Doesn't cause any pain, and it's pretty comfortable.
Kathy Marshall, Action News 8.
One of Connecticut's most famous citizens is being honored this weekend at a college in New York State. Mark Twain, who of course lived much of his life in Hartford, and his historic house is one of our state's most popular tourist attractions, is being remembered by 150 literary scholars and Twain experts from around the world. They're studying his work at Elmira College. The weekend gathering marks the 100th anniversary of the publication of Twain's A Connecticut Yankee. He wrote some of A Connecticut Yankee in Elmira, and he's buried not far from that college.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know he was buried there either.
See, you learn something new every day on this newscast.
You sure do.
Still ahead, advice for borrowers and savers when it comes to interest rates. Our money pro, Steve Crowley, is next.
And will the rain ruin our summer weekend? Nancy Aborn is here to let us know. Stay with us.
Back to school time is the perfect time to play the Ames 32nd birthday game. You could win thousands of prizes instantly, plus get great back-to-school savings like these. Lee Trekker jeans for boys, now only $19.99, save $5. Or men's Lee pre-wash jeans, now only $16.99, save $4. So come to Ames and win great prizes like these playing our 32nd birthday game. You could even win $100,000, and that's a great way to go back to school. It pays to shop at Ames every day.
Not long ago, folks here in Hidden Valley discovered something wonderful. It was a new recipe for Hidden Valley Ranch salad dressing. And somehow this new ranch dressing tasted even creamier, even fresher than ever. And for Hidden Valley Ranch, that's saying something. It hasn't changed much, but everyone agrees this is the best tasting ranch we've ever put in a bottle. Fresh, new Hidden Valley Ranch.
After a serious injury, time can turn against you. If you delay, you could lose the only chance you have to collect for your loss. Don't take a chance with the phone book. Call the injury helpline. You'll discuss your case with a lawyer near you for free. One who will explain your legal rights, costs, and the timing critical to pursuing your claim. Protect yourself. Act in time. Call the injury helpline now. Call 1-800-548-6001.
Charge. Violation of the 52nd Article of War. Neglect of duty and cowardice in the face of the enemy.
Gary Cooper stars in Springfield Rifle on the next Sunday late movie on Channel 8. But there's something he must do to clear his name.
Until this war is over, I have to do what I think is right. Else I'll never be able to look at you again.
Nobody calls Cooper a coward and gets away with it. Gary Cooper, Sunday at 11:30 p.m. on Channel 8.
Well, it's Friday, it's raining, it's not looking too good for
Mighty
the weekend.
fine weather.
But when the weather's miserable, we get patriotic, don't we, Diane?
Yes, we do. We're red, white, and blue here.
Yeah.
Notice that?
Yeah, I'm
it's
not.
Just
I'm
one of those
out
things.
of step with you guys.
Well,
sorry.
no, you're not. It just proves true. The thorn between the roses holds true once again. only.
Gee,
thanks.
Get on with
All right,
it.
the weather is going to be pretty miserable this weekend. Most of it is bad news. We also have some bad news for the astronomy buffs. Unfortunately, we will not be able to see one of the biggest cosmic light shows of the year tonight. Could be fun. The Perseid meteor showers arrive tonight. Ordinarily, late-night watchers should be able to spot about one shooting star a minute. The Perseid shower is most visible after midnight each August 12th, and it's made up of the remnants of a trail of dust left by the Swift-Tuttle comet, last sighted in 1862. Now, each year, the Earth's orbit takes it through the comet's old trail, and as the comet debris comes through our atmosphere, it burns up. So the light display is actually burning space junk, and we won't see it. Let's take a look at our current conditions now across Connecticut. A temperature of 60 degrees on the coast, 59 inland, the dew point is in the 50s. The relative humidity is 96% on the coast, 93% inland. The barometric pressure is steady on the coastline, falling in interior sections. And the winds will be kicking up this afternoon, as well as the rain. Northeasterly at 18 on the coast, northerly at 10 in interior sections. Take a look at temperatures with me now. Not too warm out there. 60 degrees at Groton, New London, 59 at Windsor Loch, 61 in Danbury, and 60 degrees in Bridgeport at this time. Our weather watcher today, we have Beth Zamiti in Hamden, who's going to be celebrating her first wedding anniversary this weekend. She said this weather is miserable and it's only good for the ducks, and she's reporting a temperature of 59 degrees. Well, I'll tell you, my lawn and garden certainly needed the water because I haven't been out there lately. Take a look at the satellite. You can see a storm system which has moved up from the southeastern coast, now moving into New England. It's already here, and Connecticut has had plenty of heavy rain already throughout the morning hours. As we advance, we'll take a look here at the digital radar. We do have a ridge of high pressure to the north of us. This will be tracking east over the Canadian Maritimes, and this frontal system will be working up from the south. All of this moisture tracking to the northeast anywhere between 25 and 30 miles an hour. It looks as though we're in for some very wet weather over the next 24 to 36 hours, extending right into tomorrow. Sunday looks like it's going to be the best day of the weekend, if you can call it that. 14 record low temperatures set this morning from North Carolina to Texas. In the meantime, our weather is going to remain rainy. Good weekend to stay inside and get all those things done that you never do when it's sunny out. Daytime high temperatures today in the 70s. Let's go to that forecast. Today, rain, heavy at times and breezy, with a high temperature between 70 and 75 degrees. Easterly winds 10 to 15 miles an hour. The outlook for tonight. The rain continues. An overnight low temperature 62 to 67 degrees. Southeasterly winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. The outlook for tomorrow, rain tapering to showers in the afternoon, on again, off again, but still pretty lousy. 75 to 80 degrees. And here's the extended forecast for Sunday. This is as good as it gets. Variable clouds, 80 to 85 degrees. A chance of showers, a touch more humid. Continue those variable clouds on Monday and Tuesday. Partly sunny with daytime highs in the mid-80s. Pretty luck, but it's the weekend nonetheless.
What can you do? Thanks a lot, Nancy.
Thanks, Nancy.
In news concerning your money, interest rates have been on a downward trend this summer. That's good news when going for a bank loan, but bad news when looking for high savings rates. Today, our money pro, Steve Crowley, has some advice for borrowers and savers alike.
With most car lots bulging at the seams, new car loan rates have barely budged. They're still averaging 12.5% at banks. Of course, you could shop for a lower rate at a credit union. These rates are still way down at 10.9%. The national average. On the home buying side, the advice of the day is lock in a fixed-rate 30-year mortgage loan when you can afford the slightly higher payment. Fixed rates are down to 9.7% on average. Adjustables are lower at 8.7%, but these can and will go up. Bill and Elaine Curran don't want to risk that. As they're shopping for their new home, they're also shopping for a mortgage. And fixed-rate loans offer no future surprises.
I'm really interested in getting a fixed rate because variable is what we have now, and it's really starting to hurt us now because we've been in our residence now for 4 years, and the rate seems to have climbed, substantially since we first got the rate.
Now on to the saving money side and those of us who shop for the highest rates possible. Well, many money mutual funds, most with checking account privileges, are still paying rates above 8.5%, a few up near 10%. So money funds are my best bets for short-term savings. Now let's go to the bank. And the best banking bets for high-interest savings are the one-year CDs. We can lock in rates of from 8 to 8.5% here. Don't go out any longer to 2.5 to 5 years. I'd rather have the flexibility of rolling my savings over 1 year from now. Take a wait-and-see attitude. On the credit card side, sad but true, rates are still averaging 18.4%, and they've dropped not even a tiny bit. So if you have lots of debt carried on credit cards, stop charging. And start paying off the balances now. Steve Crowley, Action News 8.
Well, maybe a movie would be good for the weekend. What do you think?
Oh, yeah.
All right, well,
definitely.
Still ahead on Action News Midday, Sly Stallone in jail.
That's right. With Rambo still nursing his image and Rocky waiting for Mike Tyson to retire, will Sly and the Slammer be a hit? Cy Becker has that answer in today's movie review. Stay with us.
Introducing 7 Seas Viva Italian Light Dressing.
This is light dressing?
But it's so gas.
Light on calories,
Look out!
bold on taste.
Beautiful.
That was me, bald as a billiard ball. Then I found the cure.
Kretschmer wheat germ can't grow hair on your head, but it can top your ice cream with great nutrition and crunch.
Baldness. Who says you can't lick it?
When I heard I could improve my measurements, I thought it was some crazy half-baked scheme.
Adding Kretschmer wheat germ can't give you an hourglass figure, but it can make your baking more nutritious.
Perfect measurements, you know. Make me a smart cookie.
Kretschmer, the heart of the wheat.
If you're reading about it,
Oh my goodness, look what they're saying here.
if you're talking about it,
It was fascinating, really.
it's on Donahue. If you're arguing about it,
I'm not responsible for the environment, lady. This is just a laundry mat.
if you're concerned about it,
It seems like a significant event.
it's on Donahue.
Weekdays at 9. Make it 8.
Last year, over $27 million in construction contract awards in New Haven went to minority and women businesses, monitored by the Commission on Equal Opportunities. This year, we mark our 25th anniversary of gains. Remember, if you have a concern over discrimination in employment or housing in New Haven, CEO is there to help. It's 25 years of pursuing the dream.
Contact the Commission at 787-8160, a Channel 8 public service.
Would you approve if your child married someone of another religion? Would their children celebrate Hanukkah or Christmas? Interfaith marriages on the next Sally.
Friday afternoon at 4 on WTNH, Channel 8.
Among people making news this midday, Art Linkletter says he is feeling a lot better today. A hospital spokesman says Linkletter did not suffer a heart attack as doctors had thought yesterday. He had been hospitalized with chest pains, but has now been diagnosed as having high blood pressure. The entertainer's condition has been upgraded from fair to good, and he's expected to leave the UCLA Medical Center sometime next week. Diane?
Sylvester Stallone is keeping busy these days, going directly to jail for his bumps and bruises in lockup. Cy Becker expects Sly in the Slammer to attract a lot of weekend visitors.
Since nothing makes Sylvester Stallone happier than taking punishment and dishing it out, lock him up with a sadistic warden, demented guards, and psychopathic prisoners. Stallone suffers, and so does the absurd story about this Rambo of the rock pile giving the squeamish a hard time, but having his fans loving every minute. The Gestapo kidnapping Stallone from a minimum security prison and taking him to the world's toughest lockup, where wacko warden Donald Sutherland has a score to settle.
All I know is I've only got 6 months left on my sentence.
In Gateway, 6 months could be a lifetime. Anything can happen. This is hard time, Frank. You have no rights here unless I give them to you. You feel no pleasure unless I tell you you can. This is hell. I'm going to give you the guided tour.
Go ahead, make his day. Stallone loves it. Will they push our good guy convict too far? Or will he bide his time, waiting for the big payback? What a guy! Stallone even giving a pretty good performance for a change. And Sutherland is everything you could ask for in a degenerate creep. The tense directing along with the stylish atmosphere could have you pardoning the unlikely story. Confine yourself to the vigorous action and you're locked into a good time. This is Cy Becker, Action News 8, with a look at the movies.
Thank you, Cy. Well, jazz lovers can get an earful of music this weekend in Essex. 14 bands from the U.S., Holland, Argentina, and many other countries are on hand for the great Connecticut Jazz Festival. All the great music making began last night, drawing a big crowd to the historic Valley Railroad Station.
Sounds pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
That's the news for this midday. Action News returns starting live at 5.
We'll have more on the struggle of local hospitals. The AIDS virus is devastating patients and healthcare facilities.
Also tonight, we'll show you the efforts going on in Connecticut to save a rather rare bird. It's the condor.
Those stories and much more tonight on Action News. Please join us. Have a good day.
We'll be looking for you.